Nydiamar is a full-blown campaign, map, and dungeon overhaul mod for Grim Dawn. It's definitely in my top 2 mods for this game. I've made several videos on it in the past, but it has changed so much since then that it's now worth going back to make just a full overview on this mod and how cool it is. There are several different versions of this mod. The base original one, the ultimate mode that I'll talk about in a second, and then both of these versions have a second type where the Diablo 3 class mod by Grimer is bundled in. I think the best way to play this mod is with the extra classes. The Diablo 3 class mod is really well balanced. It has awesome animations and completely new items like one-handed crossbows. I also think the best way to play is on ultimate mode, but that does require quite a bit of experience with Grim Dawn as it's really hard. Just make sure that you find the right link for the version that you would want to play for this on the forum post. When you download the mod, no matter what version, you'll get the Nydiamar folder and the NydiamarDungeons folder. Just pop both of these into the mods folder and then start a character on Nydiamar. You don't gotta worry about NydiamarDungeons for now, that's only available once you have a level 100 character. You begin in a prison next to a book that explains that you're imprisoned for something you did so long ago but you can't remember because time doesn't seem to pass in this area. And then unexpectedly, the door has opened. The lectern of choice down this path lets you choose how to play. You can choose to be not remorseful, that will result in a normal playthrough, but once you beat the campaign on all 3 difficulties, you'll unlock an option to start on a level 100 playthrough. Then you'll take a portal to the Edge of Eternity, the main hub for this campaign. You need to talk to the Lectern of Wisdom first, where you'll be able to pick a head start option from level 15 to 45. This lectern is also where you'll collect your level rewards, giving you things like loot orbs called Butekugel, devotion points, faction tickets, blueprints, and more. You can also pop the Butekugel here, which are orbs of loot that you'll find many different types and rarities out in the world, resulting in loot scaled to your level. The first thing you have to do is take a nap on your bed, which will bring you into a dream. An area very similar to Devil's Crossing and the Lower Crossing, where you must make your way to the end portal to wake back up. After that, you have to visit the faction area and the devotion dungeon. The faction area is the new way to earn faction reputation. You'll find every vanilla faction vendor standing around in this market and a giant arena far to the north. You can pay faction tickets that you'll earn from leveling up and completing quests in the actual campaign to attempt this dungeon. There are 3 parts, each with their own set of rooms, each getting progressively harder and costing more and more tickets. At the end of each part, you'll be rewarded with a bunch of chests and faction tokens that you can spend for reputation at a lectern back in the market. You can choose to go further every time or stop there. There are also time challenges that give you more rewards if you are able to complete each part within a certain amount of time. The devotion dungeon is a new way to earn devotion points, but not the only way. Here you can access one of 6 dungeons. Each of them are locked at first but become unlocked once you find and destroy the devotion orb in the campaign. The first one is in the Houghton Mine roguelike dungeon past the Wasp area. The second one is in the Strange Well roguelike dungeon near the end, and I'll let you figure out the rest. Each dungeon here is unique, themed around the area where the orb was found. The first gives you a bunch of text prompts like choices, acting like a choose your own adventure, where whatever you choose will affect your rewards and your time, whether or not you need the materials to fix the shrine, and then even leave you wounded, reducing your HP for the remainder of the dungeon. The other ones are also pretty unique, some of them are pretty basic. So that was pretty much the tutorial portion of this mod. You are now able to leave through the portal and start the actual campaign in the Tree of Eden. I suggest that you take a bounty from the Lectern of Questing first. The campaign itself is awesome. There are a lot of really cool areas, a bunch of NPCs with different quests. There are also a lot of really cool roguelike dungeons with mechanics that have never been seen before in vanilla. Some of them just get really crazy, and I'll make sure to have a section talking about some of my favorite ones in a minute. In the normal version of Nydiamar, you go through the campaign once on each difficulty for a total 3 times, just like in vanilla. If you install the Ultimate mode for this mod, you'll only have to play on Ultimate even when you start at level 1. Monsters are all scaled down to around your level, but it's still extremely tough, so you have to make sure that your skill points are being spent efficiently. In Ultimate mode only, there's this whole system of gathering favor for the gods, corruption, and blessings. Blessings are here to help us with the early difficulty. Just talk to the squirrel at the Edge of Eternity to apply up to 4 blessings to yourself. These blessings give huge buffs to your health, damage resistances, abilities, and speed. The buffs are really powerful from level 1 to 49, but after that you can only apply 3 and they become a bit weaker. And from level 85 onwards you can only have 2 and they become much weaker. This whole blessing thing is here to help us level through the brutal ultimate mode where everything is way stronger than you. They don't come without a cost though. Over time you will lose favor with the gods and you will gain corruption. You can see both in the faction window. You'll encounter god events while playing through the campaign. According to the forum post, they happen randomly every 10 to 25 minutes above level 15, only outside of towns. There are quite a few different possible events, and your favor with the gods will determine whether it's a good one or a bad one. One of the worst things the gods can do is summon a nemesis to fight you, or a minefield of explosives around you, but they can also do amazing things once you earn their favor, like summoning a bunch of friendly mobs to help you, and even a pretty low chance of granting you an extra skill point if you're favorable. Because these blessings are basically necessary for the early parts of Ultimate Mode, you'll certainly be hated by the gods for using them so much while leveling, but you are able to earn your favor back by completing quests, roguelike dungeons, or even making sacrifices of iron bits and items to the squirrel. Odal Ayla's dungeon in the catacombs costs 50,000 iron bits to enter each time, and then it will cost a bunch of aether crystals to attempt each room. Each room will have a random outcome, from things like spawning a bunch of monsters, chests, NPCs that give you choices, and then even spawning a nemesis. You can choose how many rooms you want to attempt, each one costing more and more aether shards, and the final room also costs a skeleton key to attempt. The later rooms have 2 event spawners and the final one has 3, so it can get really scary if you're unlucky, or you could be really lucky and get some amazing loot. Each time you pass this dungeon, you are refunded a portion of the aether crystals you spent, and then you get to go again without even restarting the game. In the strange well, you'll have to go through 3 rooms with different challenges: a dangerous elemental maze, a hazy ghost ambush, and a room full of skeletons where you have to lure the immortal bastard to the center. Each of these rooms will reward you with a relic that you put into the shrine in the 4th room that will open a door to a final challenge, a bunch of waves of really powerful undead. And the final reward room here has a ton of different chests. The Ice Cave is a pretty short and simple dungeon that will constantly damage you every second unless you are near a source of warmth. You have to make your way through hordes of Silith while fighting the cold, eventually leading to a fight against 2 of the most iconic Slith bosses, and then some chests to reward you. There is a giant dungeon called Sanctuary where you collect a bunch of these hidden keys throughout each part for a potentially insane reward room, and there are the Ruins of Seta that has this mini game of making monsters fight each other for rewards, both of which I talk about pretty in depth in older videos that I'll put in the description and I'll put in the card above as well. NydiamarDungeons is the brand new endgame mode for this mod, and is the main reason why I wanted to go back and make a full overview. You need to be level 100 and get the special key that's rewarded by beating the normal Nydiamar campaign, then you can switch to your custom game, to NydiamarDungeons, to begin the endgame. You'll be given some of these Castell keys that you need to use to unlock dungeons in the Nydiamar arcs. In the first room, these doors cost 10 keys to open, and once you spend those keys, they'll be open forever even if you restart the instance, which is important because all of these dungeons are actually roguelike, so you only have 1 attempt per session. Each of these dungeons are based on a location in the Nydiamar campaign, but they are way harder and they have some bonus little secrets, some extra bosses, and will reward you with more Castell keys on completion. Here, the level cap is increased to 200, but levels will only give you an attribute point, no skill points by default, but you'll also be getting these Paragon levels when you level up beyond 100, which you can exchange at a lectern for an option of a skill point, 2 attribute points, or a divine loot orb, the best loot orb possible. The goal here is to complete each dungeon and save up enough keys to progress to the next area, guarded by a door that requires a lot more keys than the others. You'll eventually move on to the next set of dungeons, rinse and repeat, while things get exponentially harder and you keep leveling beyond 100. This is a pretty neat endgame mechanic I am pretty excited about, because one of my biggest gripes with Vanilla Grim Dawn is that it does lack a decent endgame. At least for me, I'm not a fan of the Shattered Realms grind at all, so something like this that keeps throwing dungeons at me and doubles the level caps and just keeps getting harder and harder is a lot of fun. I really like the idea. So thank you for getting this far into the video. If this mod looks cool, you should definitely download it using the links below. Like I said, easily in my top 2 mods for Grim Dawn. A lot of effort and passion has been put into making this, and it does feel like a whole new game at times with some of the really creative ideas. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. And thank you to my members for supporting the channel and letting me make content like this. We have Gunner Granzin and Mr. Fat Cat. Thank you so much, guys.